Let us now talk about another prominent feature of Excel, which is pivot tables. A pivot table is a data summarization tool that allows you to analyze and explore your data in a variety of ways. It is a powerful tool that can help you to answer questions about your data that would be difficult or impossible to answer using other methods. Now, to use a pivot table in Excel, you first need to select the data that you want to summarize. So let me select this data, Ctrl+Shift+Right key, and then down arrow. And now, once you have selected the data, to create a pivot table, go to the Insert tab and then click on Pivot Table here. Here you can see that it is asking for the table or the range, which in this case is already selected. Then it asks whether you want to create the pivot table in a new worksheet or the existing one. Now if I select new worksheet and click OK, it will add a new worksheet over here which will have the pivot table. Else, if you select the existing worksheet, you have to specify the location or basically cell where you want your pivot table. In this example, I will go with new worksheet and click on OK. So you can see that this is the new worksheet that has been created for our pivot table, and right now the pivot table stage is empty. Here is where we will build our report. To build the report, we have to click Choose the Fields, which you can see on the right hand side. So here are the fields. So these are nothing but the headers of the table that we selected. Here is the area where we want to place the headers according to the pivot table that we want to build. So to add the fields, you just have to drag and drop them to the required area below. For example, I can drag and drop this field, pizza type, to the row or the column as per my need. Or you can just check the box next to the required field, for example branch, and it automatically got added under the row, and you can see that our pivot table has started to build. Now, next, if I select quantity based on the data type, it got added under the values area. So now your pivot table shows the name of the branches and the total quantity sold across each branch. Now if I select one more field or header, say pizza type, you can see that it displays the data in a manner that under each branch, it shows the different types of pizza and the quantity sold for each of them. Now you're free to move the fields across the areas if you want to make changes to the way the data is displayed on the pivot table. For example, if I move the pizza type under the columns area, the pivot table would display the data like this. So instead of rows, the pizza type is spread across columns. Now I will try another change, that is move the pizza type under rows and branch under columns, which will give the result as you can see here. As this gives a more compact view, I would leave it at that. So this way we can play around to find the best output as per our requirement. Now suppose I want to add a filter to this table based on certain criteria, that is remarks. So I will drag and drop the remarks field under the filter area. You can see that the filter has been added here. Right now it shows all the remarks. If I click here, it shows two options, 0 and good. So I will select good and click OK. So these are the ones that have the remarks marked as good. Now if you want to select more than one filter criteria, you can check this box and make your selections. For the time being, I'll change it back to all. So with the help of pivot tables, it becomes very easy to play around with your data and find out the best way to summarize and present your data. For example, I want to find out the quantity of chicken balls sold in the California branch. With this kind of summarized data in front of us, we can quickly know that it is 119. And what is the total number of chicken balls sold across all the regions? It is 472. It is that easy. Now when I click outside the pivot table stage, you can see that the pivot table field has disappeared. Now to bring that back, just click anywhere inside the pivot table and you can see that the pivot tables field is back. Finally, to format a pivot table, just click on this cell and it selects the complete pivot table. Now right click and you can see that we have the format cells, numbers, etc. Now from the same table that we created this pivot table, we can create multiple pivot tables. So these were some of the simple and basic operations that we can perform with the help of pivot tables. And pivot table is one of the very powerful tools in Excel which can help you quickly summarize your data and draw inferences.